This is the moon phase report for Cancers. Oh my gosh, I got so excited. I kind of always do them backwards, and then I sometimes go out of order, but I got to Libra and I couldn't think of anything. Nothing was coming through, and I was like, oh, let me just do one more and take a break. And I was like, Cancer! And I was like, I don't think I've done these forever, because I got so excited when I realized that I had to do Cancer still. So, for you guys, you're definitely, it may be that you have been having too many, what do they say? Too many, you're spreading yourself too thin, possibly, with your career and with your wanting to do, with what you're wanting to do. So you may be like, I want to do this, I've been doing this, I've been doing this, and there's something kind of shifting in you where some things maybe need to let go of to put more energy into other things. So this is going to be a time when you're, really going to be kind of thinking of what you need to change about what you're doing, and there's going to be the tone of, this part of your like soul's purpose with this, so like really kind of awakening to something that, it might even come like a bolt out of nowhere, where you're like, I've always loved to do that, and it may be something that you just never like believed in yourself or believed you could make a living doing, and something's just needing to be let go in that arena of really allowing the possibility of this to be your reality. It might be something so big that you think, how could I ever do this? But it's like every step leads you further to this thing of yours, and right now it's just going to be on your mind, and really kind of like clearing the space from doing too many of these other little things to really kind of put more of your attention into this bigger thing. And even if it is just starting the first steps, it's still really important that you start doing this, and your heart's, it's singing to you about this, and there's also an element to this that's you wanting to get something out there in a bigger way, or make a bigger impact, or um, um, something even like publishing related, something that's just even more like spiritual and empowering and assisting others in a bigger way. Could be something that's lighting you up. There's definitely going to be something with whether you used to write and don't do it anymore, or wanting to share a larger global kind of message, or sharing your message, or something like that is being kind of awakened and activated, and this like desire to really like put your energy towards writing something that could eventually go bigger and further, and or something that's sharing a message that really kind of relates to the life path that you've walked. And maybe it's kind of just now that you're awakening to that it is time, and that you have learned enough on the earth walk to really feel like justified to want to share this. It may even be something schooling related, so maybe you're thinking about writing your first e-course, or something to help others expand their lives, or live their soul purpose, or something like that. So if that's what's going on in your mind, then perfect. Do understand though, like there's a lot of power in you right now, and in what we're seeing in you. And also with Jupiter in Cancer, you know, normally it can be like the most fantastic thing ever, but there are always gray areas with that, because it's going to expand whatever is going on in the depth of you. And because you have Saturn in the 5th house, that one kind of it can make you really insecure. It can make you not feel secure of your creative gifts. It can make you not sexually frisky. It can make you just more like unable to feel free moving your body. It can just make you, it can really put up a lot of blocks around things that are keeping joy, creativity, carefree feelings, happiness, babies, feeling childlike yourself in your creative endeavors, so that you're not thinking about the money or competing. Like, I'm so ready for the competitive energy to leave this world. I'm so ready for us to just know there's plenty out there, and that we don't have to compete with everybody to get our stuff out, that we can really support everybody, that there's plenty of clients, there's plenty of buyers, there's plenty of artists, there's just plenty. It's the same thing with like doctors. We don't, they're not competitive of each other, are they? They just know there's plenty of sick people out there. We're always going to be busy. So um, um, there can be some things in you right now that are feeling more that competitive. I have to keep up, I have to keep da 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 da. But it's really not the truth at all. It's kind of like I say, whatever you vibrate and whatever you put out there is the quality of clientele or whatever that you're going to get. So it's best to just work on yourself and not care what anybody else is doing. And maybe somebody else is, or whatever. I don't even want to get into that. But, just really kind of focus on yourself. It's really kind of, you want to think about what you can do to be this most awesome person you can be, who's loving and light and creative and open and not feeling competitive and not feeling, like you have to force anything to happen, but really kind of trusting. Get that light beam out of my face. But just more trusting that you do have something really special. And so what's going to happen too is Mercury goes retrograde 2 days after this lunar eclipse. So that's really heavy duty. It's perfect though, because it's going to be down there in that area that we're talking about now, which is in the creative, carefree, fun house. So it's kind of going to be about a 2-month period, but you're really going to be kind of going back and kind of like trying to, you're really going to go back and like see how you've been more limiting, shutting yourself down, saying this isn't possible, saying I can't do that. There's going to be a really big lineage factor too, so it can be like something where you always heard that you had to work hard to make things happen, or you have to da-da-da, and there's just going to be kind of a reprogramming going on with you, where you are more, playing with the mystery and playing with spirit to manifest the things you want, and like trusting more that like even if things are shut down and not coming out of you right now, like there's a lesson, so even if you're not so creative right now in this one area and maybe feeling like you have to push yourself, then that just means there's another area that needs your attention, and when that water flows again, you'll ride it and it'll be great. And so you're just going to kind of learn to trust the waves and the rhythms of your body, and as it's moving through life, and trusting like all the kind of limiting feelings. You're in the middle of this cycle. You're getting close to the middle of this cycle, but that's like another 1.5 years. But what it's going to do is it's going to create like this really amazing like solid source of creative expression, or a happiness with life and a carefreeness with life that's really kind of coming from a very wise, Buddha kind of perspective. And you'll just have kind of a new layout of what life is all about after you go through this cycle. And one thing I do have to tell you is not to fight this one at all, because it's kind of unfortunate that you have Jupiter where it is at the same time you have Saturn where it is. There would be much better ways to have Saturn to really reap the benefits of this Jupiter, but it's actually, it's actually good for you that the Jupiter is kind of having you see things about yourself that are larger than life, and that's why, there can be a depression, and you're really just like, what is this? What is this? Why do I feel this way? And, I do caution you. That's not the right word. Gosh, there's a beam coming on the other side too now. I'm surrounded by beams. There's like angels all over right now. These are all angels talking to you maybe. But so, I don't really mean the word caution, but after where Saturn is now and where he's going to move is, is, oops, is in a place where people can tend to magnetize sicknesses from the thought processes that linger on and then become illness. So something with the time now and feeling kind of down and depressed and not really hopeful about things, or not like things are working out great. And I think these white beams are funny. Anyway, so something about like being too stuck in the depression of now, if you buy into it as too much of a negative thing, can open the energetic realm of illnesses magnetizing into your body come a couple years from now. So it's actually really good that you have Jupiter there magnetizing or magnifying everything, so that you can really see what's going on. And especially it's great that you have me here so that you can listen to the truth that this is all a schooling thing, and it's all for your good, and it's going to create something that's a beautiful work of art. And not to fight it, not to keep looking at it as, there's cycles in life. The Saturn return is a cycle that nobody gets around. You don't just get to not go through the Saturn return and sail through it like on a, like this is the best time of my life. Like, I don't know that anybody in the world says that that's the best time of their life when they go through Saturn but return, but before it, you have no clue. You have no clue. You have no clue until you walk into it, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what? But there's a purpose to it, and it just helps if you can just surrender more to it and surrender to more to it, and to understand this is like the biggest schooling period of your life. After this is when you can really come out, unless you were just born with these God-given gifts at age 10 and you're already a Buddha at 10, you don't really have this collection of wisdom that is to be shared with the world in a really high and powerful way until after 28, or until after like 30, and until after the early 30s. So, you're in this really big schooling, pulled back kind of, with this one at least, in your fifth house, that time that's kind of just sobering and, not feeling too hot, and you don't feel too hot a lot of the time, and it can be really hard to handle and deal with. But I just tell you, just surrender into it. It's a part of Saturn's movements around your chart. One thing too is like when it gets into your 10th house, that is when you're really able to birth this thing that you're kind of working on right now. So if you can just, I remember, because right now I'm in that time of birthing my visions. And I told you, like the past 14 years is when I was working on my birth chart book information, and 800 pages of this book and all these other books. I have so many books of information because, internet wasn't really around, so, and I didn't ever read about anything, so I would just express all these things I would discover along the path. And now I think they'll be very helpful for people now. But I'm about to get blasted out with light. There's only going to be a white beam here soon. I better hurry. If you can just understand, I remember what life was like when I had Saturn going through the fifth house. Oh my gosh. Like I couldn't dance. I couldn't be free with my body. I didn't have faith in my creative creations. I was so depressed. I was never happy. I got these two things between my forehead when I was going through that, Saturn in the fourth and the fifth. It was so intense. I could not stop from always clenching my forehead. I didn't realize I was so stressed. It was so hard from going from happy-go-lucky, going from like the best times of my life ever, off a cliff into like nightmare land and years of nightmare land, So I caution you to just like be as carefree and surrendering as you can, because you don't want to open the door for the illnesses to come, and you will if you hold on too tight to looking at this as something is wrong, because something is not wrong. This is the part of, Saturn's schooling, and it's kind of like pulling back all these other things in order to give us new perspectives of things. And the whole point is really just not to fight it. I was always fighting it because I was like, what is wrong? Something's wrong. And then I was going through ascension, so it was even more like, this is a nightmare. What happened? And, but I could never surrender into it. I could never just trust. I didn't start trusting until years later. Then it was like, oh, I've realized that nothing good happens if I fight it and think that something's wrong with it. So it took me years to discover that, wow, if I just surrender and trust it, because if you just stop and look at enough things in life and how, these things, even I think it's so remarkable how, like, fall hits and then boom, the trees instantly start changing their color. Like the day we move into fall, boom. There's so much. It has this timing. There's these timings. There's these perfect things, and now they're going to go all beautiful and all these beautiful colors, and then they're going to fall off and die, but they're not going to, like, sit there and get depressed and think something's wrong. They just know it's more of an inward time. It's more of a creating creative projects time. It's more of a pulled back from the world time, and maybe doing something that's more away from the scenes and not so much putting all your things out there to make your big win in life now. Definitely with creative projects, it's like, no, 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 wait. This isn't exactly the time to have huge success with your stuff. But if you've already been doing it and have kind of some success, then I would imagine it can continue on. But I think the whole point is really, and especially with Mercury too, where's the Mercury with you then? Oh, that's funny. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's so funny. I always like just say stuff and then I look at the chart and it's reinforced, and it always cracks me up because I'm like, how does that happen? But so yeah, so really expect, like, this Mercury retrograde is really going to show you where your thoughts are keeping you in this lower way, where your thoughts are keeping you from thinking everything is worse than it really is, where your thoughts are feeling this hopelessness because you weren't just feeling this not too long ago, and that's why it's kind of hard to deal with. Although, I mean, there may have been like a year. I mean, it went through the fourth house. What am I talking about? Yeah, you've kind of been in this for a couple years. So I can feel you. That's when it started for me, was when Saturn moved into my fourth house. But that's when I created these works of art that are supporting me now. So just know that, if you can just, try to be as trusting as you can, that there's a reason for it. There's a reason to this season. And this Mercury going retrograde is really going to help you kind of try to see where your mind is being too limiting, or where your mind is thinking too negative, or where your mind is thinking you can't move, you can't grow, you can't change, but I don't like how it is, and this doesn't feel good, and, so you're going to open up to these places that, don't really feel good, but you'll just kind of, over the next couple of months, get a dose of, like, seeing them from a higher perspective and being like, I will get through this, and kind of transforming your thoughts into a more positive way of, I know something good is coming from this. I know something good is coming from this. I know that what I'm working on now is going to make a huge impact several years from now, or whenever. I know that there's something to this, and I know that this is part of being human and the life path, and I know I will come out stronger than this. So you're going to want to just come with more empowering words that make this an okay thing and not so bad. Like I said, I looked at it as bad. It was a nightmare, and now I have two lines between my eyes because I had scrunched up my head so much of so now I always have to remember, like, keep them out, keep them out, keep them out, stretch them out, it's all good. But, like, I created those at age 28. I did not have any sign of them until my Saturn return. And now I'm like, oh, I don't like them. I mean, now I don't even feel like that at all, so I'm like, dang, I wish I would have had this information before. I wish I would have known that it's really just changing your perspective and just being like, completely surrendering and trusting spirit and trusting that there's something to this, and, laying it all down and being like, okay, You know, there must be something to this. You know I'm not destined to be a loser and destined to, you know, have to suffer. You know, I know there's something I need to see. There's something I need to clear out. There's something I need to, and that's a focus too. I didn't even get to that. I need to hurry. There is a focus too on the childhood. That can be where something is creating this limiting depression thing, and it just needs to be cleared out of you. And you know, hopefully you can, because there is a lot of attention on the home front right now. There's a lot of things there where you're like, I don't know about this, I don't know about this, something needs to change, I don't know if this is okay. And, you know, just kind of put the questions out there and trust your guts for feelings. Do lots of journaling. That's when you can get a lot of answers, especially when you ask the angels to talk through you. And if you can trust that enough, they will. And then you can just get answers and, you know, go from there and take steps towards making things better. And, you know, and yeah. So I'm going to stop there, and you have a beautiful full moon, and just like let it fall. You know, we don't have to hold on to everything, and or we don't have to hold on to things that just because we think we have to stay with them. You know, if they are wanting to fall, your body knows that. It's like, this doesn't feel good, and like let it fall. It might hurt. It might hurt to feel it fall, but like in the long run, you were going to see, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I honored that. I'm so glad I honored what my body said, or I'm so glad that I, you know, delved deeper into that situation and made peace with it and cleared it out of my system and forgave others, or whatever it's going to take. And yeah, so hopefully you can make it for our call on Saturday. I do know it's a really bad time, so I'm kind of expecting this call to be a little small. But one of the things, I just got off the phone with Tara, and we're going to be focusing on shame. So we're going to be working, Kuan Yin wants to focus on shame for this lunar eclipse healing call. So taking that shame out of us, which, how amazing is that? So hopefully you can make it. If not, we're going to try to get a better time for the new moon solar eclipse. I think we're going to stick to weekday nights now, because we're already have gotten dozens and dozens of emails from people who are like, I want to go, but I work. I want to go, but I'm out of town. Not on Saturday, you know. So we didn't know if it was going to be a good day. We were kind of knowing that we were learning. So I'm kind of realizing it's not going to be the best day, but hopefully you can make it. And if not, we're going to have it on the solar eclipse. It's really, I hope that you can get one of the solar eclipses, because this is when the energy is most powerful, but we're still going to be doing them on the new moons and full moons. So you're going to get to start noticing all these shifts that you're already seeing in me. And I've only done 2 of these. So imagine how much your life is going to change if you could, you know, do 1 or 2 a month. The possibilities are amazing. That's why I'm so excited about this. So anyway, okay, you have a beautiful full moon. It's going to be okay, babies. I know, and I feel you. So look at me now, and I was where you are. But don't get the lines between your eyes. Don't get stressed out. You don't have to let that happen. I didn't know, but I can share that with you now. Okay. All right. Bye.